Hello, this is a lesson about complex geometries where we will build a parametric bench, a 3D wall, and a parametric facade. Let's continue with the same class project file that was used on our previous assignments. And you can select that file on your Revit homepage, or you can go to your Open tab and then go through your folders and find the correct file. Okay, so first thing is we do not need the roof today, and what we're going to do is hide it. So go ahead and select your roof, do the right click on it, and under Hide in View, select Category, and that'll cover all those parts there. Okay, and so what we're going to do is we're going to open the Level 4 browser, or excuse me, the Level 4 view that's in your project browser. It's in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen, and just double-click on Level 4. There we go. So today it might be easier, instead of working in a south, east, or west view and then hiding the materials, we're just going to create a quick section cut and then access views from that because this may be quicker. So what I want you to do is go to your View tab above your ribbon and then select the section. So we'll draw the first one here starting on the left side of our building, which is on the west side, and you click once and just drag it over to the right and then click again to place it. The double arrows here, this is the extents on this dashed line. These are the extents to how much you see. So if you pull it past this point, you won't be able to see this wall that I'm highlighting. But that's fine. Okay, and then let's go ahead and add one more. And again, that was View and then the section. And then let's click right about over here on the north side or the top of the building, and then click and drag downward. And then click one more time to place it. So right now this is saying, because you can also tell with the extents and through the arrow of this little annotation here, that we're going to be viewing towards the east, and we don't want to do that. We want to view towards the west. So if you can tell, if you click these double blue arrows, it does not let you switch over. You have to click these double blue arrows. Hope that's not confusing. So you click that and that will change our view, and so that's where we want to see. So we're going to start with our parametric bench, and I'm going to zoom into this top of the floor plate of level 4. You can use that just with your regular scroll on your mouse, or you can use it using the navigation bar up here in the right of your canvas. And we're going to go to the Architecture tab right above the ribbon. And then under Components, we're going to click the drop-down menu, and we're going to select Model in Place. What we're building is furniture, and so we can just choose the furniture option and then click OK. Let's just name this for simplicity's bench, and then click OK. We're going to start by doing a sweep blend. I guess I call it swept blend. So on your ribbon, we're going to click this. It goes from a square to a circle. That's the icon for the sweep blend. And the first thing that we want to do is we want to sketch the path that it's going to blend one shape to the other. So we'll click Sketch Patch. And then what we'll do is we will use the Center Ends arc. So we'll select that tool on our Draw panel. And then we'll just come out somewhere here in the middle, and we'll click once. And let's make this a 10-foot radius circle. So you can do this by dragging until your mouse hits that dimension, or you can just type 10, enter. And then once you have that down, it's allowing you to create a specific degree, but let's just keep it simple and let's just go 90. So once we've completed the arc angle, we're going to click the green check mark up on your ribbon to complete that path. So the next step would be to draw a profile. So in this type of icon, you can also upload other sketches, but that's not what we're going to do. We're going to actually draw a profile. So select Profile 1, and then select the Edit Profile button. So here it's saying that it wants you to go to a specific view, and this is where we're going to choose one of the sections that we created a moment ago. So select Section 1 and then click Open View. So as you can see, it's showing you the cut through the building, and we want to zoom into this green dash and red dot here that's highlighted. And then just so for first to explain what these are reference lines, and this reference line here, the horizontal one, is on top of the floor slab that we have on level 4. And so anything that you draw below this reference plane will not show up on through the floor plate, because it'll be hidden by the floor plate. So what we want to start doing is choose the line tool on your ribbon, and then we're going to start from this midpoint here, and as you can see, it highlights with a magenta triangle. So go ahead and click once to start drawing, and then we're going to go up here. We're going to make this a 2-foot 6-inch line. There you go. And now let's just switch to the spline. Let's make something that's very curvy, and we're gonna draw a almost like a chair shape. So we can just kind of slightly come out here to the left of the reference plane, and then just start clicking to add little reference points to how it's going to show where the spline will move and curve back and forth. So let's go back, let's click about halfway or a little bit above halfway, and then make a seat. And then you can choose to make 2 sets of legs, or if you want, you can create something that's sinuous and a full loop. So now I'm back here, and I should be clicking on the reference plane. We can do that, and then to close this loop, we want to click again where we first started off, which is at that midpoint. And if you want to change what you've done, you can just select that line that select the spline line, and then just choose click on one of these little blue circles, these blue rings, and then click and drag, and then you can edit what you've done. We can make some of these maybe a little bit more dramatic. All right, once you're done, you can click the green Finish Edit Mode, the green check mark on top of your ribbon. And then we're going to do the same thing with Profile 2. So click the icon that says Select Profile 2, and then click the Edit Profile button. And then again, we want the second section that we created, so click on Section 2 and then Open View. And then we're going to zoom in to the reference planes and that red dot, and we're going to do something similar, but this time kind of create a stool type shape. So we'll go up maybe 1.5 feet with the line tool, and then choose the spline tool, just that one there, and then And then remember to end the curve that you're creating back where we started. Remember that you can select the spline and then move the blue circles in order to edit the shape to something that you like. And once you're complete, click the green check mark on your ribbon to finish that. Once both of the profiles are complete, you can go ahead and click the green check mark at the top to finish this sweep blend. And then let's go to the 3D view. So you can use the scroll on your mouse to zoom in. If you need to pivot around the item, you can make sure that it's selected so it's highlighted blue, and then hold down the shift button and the scroll on your mouse, and then you can pivot around an item that is selected. So you can kind of see how this has a really nice high back over here and it swoops down to a lower back here. All right, we're going to go back to level 4, the level 4 view. And parametric benches sometimes have that really cool void spaces where it looks like a bunch of pieces that are being lined up together. So what we're going to do is go back to the Create tab, and we're going to create a void form. So if you select the down arrow here, you can see that many of the same items to make extrusions and blends and sweeps also can be done with voids. But we're going to make a simple void extrusion, so select void extrusion. And in your, either on your options bar, which is this blue bar here at the top, you can select a different depth, or you could also change that information for where you want the where you want the extrusion to start and where you want the extrusion to end. So if you didn't want it to touch the ground, you could change that number to say it starts at 1 foot and goes to 3 feet. But for this, I'm just going to change the depth on the option bar to 4 foot. And I'm going to select the rectangle tool on the ribbon, and then I'm going to click once and then drag out to my other side of the chair here, or of the bench, and I'm going to make this a 3-inch void extrusion. Make sure that both ends on left and right of that bench go far enough out to make sure that it's going to cut all the way through, and then click once to finish that. Hit the green check mark when you're finished. And there we have our extrusion. If you want, you can go to the 3D view to see what that looks like. And without it deselected, you can see that it cut through it. And if you want to reselect it, you can hover over it and you can find it, and you can also use these little blue triangles to readjust its dimensions or its parameters. So go back to your level 4 view if you left level 4, and one thing that you could do is you could select your extrusion and you could copy paste it and change its angle manually, but we're going to work smart, not hard. So what you do is select your extrusion. You can hover over it. You can use the tab button to try to find it if it's not selecting it for you. And you want to click the array icon up here on your ribbon. When you click on the array, it's going to give you some options on your option bar that are not available in your properties panel. And one is that you can do an array where it makes multiple copies at set distances from each other in a linear fashion, or you can do the same thing radial. And we want to do something that's radial. So we'll click that part of the icon, and we'll just leave the number at 3 for now. So we want to create a radial effect where the center is not at the middle of our extrusion, but at the middle of our bench. So we want to almost create two lines that create a crossing from the radius centers. So we can do that. We can go to annotate, so we're going to do that real fast because that'll make this a little easier. Oh, nope, I'm sorry. Go to create, and then you want to make a model line. So select the model line icon, and just with the simple line tool, click on the outer edge and then drag directly straight down. Once you create that first line, you can hit exit once. Click the exit button once to stop that command, and then you can draw the second line as so. Exit twice will stop that model line. And let's go back and highlight the void extrusion. And we're going to hit the array button. And we want to make sure that radial is checked. And what I want you to do is click the blue center of that array, or of that rotation that you see. Click and drag it to this intersection here of the lines that we just created. And now, as you can see, we're going to array this from the bottom up here to the top. So go ahead, click once on our line, and then drag it up, and click again. So as you can see, it made 3, and for some reason it did a full 180. So what we'll do is we'll select this blue line, this blue dot on here on the right, at the end of our array, and let's drag that back to here. There we go. So now we have 3. So we'll select any one of these on that array that we have, and you'll notice that there's a number 3 here at the center, at the midpoint of that array. We can click that to edit that text. So let's do that, and let's type 10. So it's saying that that cannot be added. The maximum number is 9. So let's change that to 9 and hit enter. Okay, so we're going to click that blue line, click that blue dot again. I don't know what happened there. Sorry about that. Select that array, click that blue dot again, and let's drag that back to a quarter. So it's looking pretty fancy. Let's see if we can change that. Let's see if we can go higher. Let's try 15. Okay, so we were able to change it to 15. Let's click that blue dot and drag it back to the bench here. You can do a lot more, and you can make this look a lot more detailed, but we're just going to stick with the 15 for now. And the reason being for that is going to be for time. You can see that 2 of these void extrusions are actually cutting into our bench, but the remaining are highlighted yellow, a yellowish orange color still. That means they have not cut into our bench. If you go to the 3D view, you can see that they're remaining separate items without the bench being cut. So if you want, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to cut it manually. So you can select the cut geometry icon that's up on the ribbon, and what you're going to do is you're going to select the void first, and then you're going to select the bench. This can be done in both 3D, and it can also be done in level 4. For me, it's a little bit easier to do it in level 4. So let's do that again. We're going to hit the cut icon, we're going to select the void, and then select the bench. And then you can just kind of go back and forth. So it depends on how detailed you want to be whenever you're creating these types of detailed items. And there we go. So what we'll do is use your modify tool up here on the left, And then we're going to select the two lines that we created, and we're just going to delete them. So you can do that by hitting the delete key. But be careful because you don't want to highlight it like I had done at the beginning, or else you're going to select everything. So let's go back to the 3D model or the 3D view, and you can kind of see what that looks like. If you want, you can select the bench, and you can use the shift tool and while holding down, the shift key while holding down the scroll button to pivot around if you would like to see what that looks like. Lastly, we want to assign a material to the bench. And so what we need to do is click the Finish Model icon. It's the green check mark at the top on your ribbon. And then we can select the bench here. And, oh, no, it's not there. Sorry about that. Okay, so select your bench, and then let's click Edit in Place. I'm going to use my Tab key to select the bench. And there we go. So on the Properties palette on the upper left side of your screen, we're going to click the Material line right next to the By Category. If you select that box, we're going to click these three dots right there. So as you can see, there's a number of already pre-made materials that are in my library, but everybody should already have a wood stained in there. If you not, just choose any kind of wood finish, because we just want to assign it a simple material for now. So just select that and click OK. And you can see that the bench has changed materials. If you want to see, if you're in a view where it's the wireframe, you can change this to see color like you see on my screen by going down here to the visual control bar, or the view control bar. Click this little 3D cube, and then there are different examples of the types of views that you can see. You can do wireframe, hidden line, shaded. I'm in shaded right now. If you want, you could do realistic. That actually gives it almost like an actual grain to it. But I'm going to switch it back to shaded. So we're going to move on to the parametric facade. And I went ahead and closed out my other tabs, and I just stayed on the 3D because it's the only one from what we used previous and we'll be using going forward. We also need the Elevations East tab open, so go to your project browser and double click on the East elevation to open it. And for a moment, we also will need the level 1 floor plan, so go ahead and double click to open that one as well. If your room names and everything, if it's too much and they're too large, you can change them to look like how small mine are by going to the view control bar here at the bottom of your canvas and select the scale, and I'm at 1/4 inch equals 1 foot. Let's see, if I go down to 1/16 inches equals 1 foot, you can see how large it is. I'm going to go back to 1/4 inch equals 1 foot, and it makes it much smaller, so it's a little bit easier to draw around. And this kind of information will just help you out with many other times in the future. So go to the Massing and Site tab, and then we're going to click the In Place Mass. So before we use the component under Architecture tab, but those are usually for smaller things that you want to place multiple times. This is a larger scale mass that we're going to apply a wall to, and those are built in the In Place Mass. We're going to name this just 3D Facade, and then click OK. And the first thing that you want to do whenever you're creating complex geometries is you want to set your planes, your reference planes. So go ahead and on the ribbon click reference plane, or sorry, excuse me, just click the plane button, and it just has the one line tool. So we'll just select that. We want to line our first line up with the exterior part of this facade, and then we'll just click once and drag it up into the building, and then click to name it section, and then we're going to type in reference 1 and then hit enter. Our next one we're going to drag out to the right here, and we're going to line up with the center line of the wall between office 105 and 106, and click once and drag up. We're going to name that reference 2. And our third one, do the same between 106 and 107. We're going to name this reference 3. And then click one more time between 107 and 108. Name this one reference 4. And then our last one, I'm lining it up against the side of this the patio slab here. And I'm going to click and drag that up, and we'll name that one reference 5. Now that the reference planes are set, we don't need this level anymore, so we'll go ahead and close that out, and then we're left with 3D and the east view. It may be easier to view these in a tiled way, so go to the View tab and then click on the Tile Views icon. That way we can see both at the same time. So I'm going to just position my east view here to make sure that I can at least see the top and the bottom of the east view. And then in the 3D view, I'm just kind of angling in towards the facade that we drew those reference planes going in and out of the walls here. Let's go to the Create tab. And we're going to do the model icon here, and then we're going to select, first we'll select the line tool. You want to make sure that your draw on work plane is selected, and then on the options bar here next to placement plane, we're going to do the drop down and select reference 1. We want to make sure that chain is selected, and I'm going to go ahead and start by zooming into the roof and the wall here, and you can see there's a very this exterior part of that wall is highlighting, so I want to select where the roof comes down and is touching with the wall. And I'm going to go out 6 inches here. So you can type 6 inches and do the inch mark, or you could do 0 space 6. There we go. And then let's change to the spline. And I'm just going to have a little fun and draw a very sinuous line, and then I'm going to zoom in to the bottom here where it's meeting at the top of the slab, and I'm just going to click to make sure I intersect with that, and then I'm going to change to the line tool. Now remember, at the top we started at the exterior face of that wall, so we want to make sure that we end back on that and then go all the way up to close out the curve completely. If you don't enclose that curve with a base, so that's why I started off coming 6 inches out from the wall, that helps create that mass. Sometimes if you don't add that little bit of thickness, sometimes it won't create a mass for you. Let's go to the Modify tool. We're going to select that Modify tool. And you can see it did not draw on our reference plane 1. It's actually looks like it's drawing on reference plane possibly 3. So let's select that line. I'm selecting it here in the 3D view. You can also select it in the east view. And it's saying that the host is not associated. Go ahead and click the down arrow and then select reference plane 1. And that's fine. It's going to fix it for us. So it moved it over to that reference plane 1. Let's go ahead. Let's click the model icon again and make sure that the line tool is selected. And let's make sure that we choose reference plane 2 this time. And if you want, you can go even farther out. We can say we want the next one, the top, to start off at 2 foot, 0 inches, and then let's say it does something different. Oh, sorry, let me backspace on that, or undo that. Let's switch to this spline tool. I'm going to recreate that there. There you go. Connect it there, and then switch to the line tool and loop back up to complete that line. Just for this demonstration, I'm only going to use, it looks like it drew on the reference plane 3 again. That's fine. If not, just select your modify tool and change it. I'm only going to use reference plane 1, 3, and 5 for now, just to keep this simple. But if you'd like to explore creating all 5 and then having a very complex geometry, you can do that. Just beware that if it's too complex, sometimes Revit can't create those shapes for you. So let's select the model icon. We're going to select reference plane 5. We're going to start off with the line. Going to go out to about 1 foot here. Something kind of in between. I'm going to switch to the spline tool. And try to maybe hit right in the middle of these. Kind of come out here. And come down here. I'm going to switch to the line tool, and I'm going to circle that back to the top to create a closed loop. Okay. You can either hit exit twice to escape that command, or choose the modify tool up in the top left-hand corner of the screen. And what we're going to do now is select the 3 lines that you made, or if you made all 5, go ahead and select them all. And on the ribbon, we're going to click Create Form. As you can see, you can do 2 different kinds of form. We're going to click Create the solid form. There we go. And then if you want to pivot around in your 3D model, on the 3D canvas, you can kind of see how that looks. It's kind of creating a really neat curvilinear facade there. So as you can see, that the mass is also cutting off the views from the offices. So we want to create an extrusion here. So let's zoom in here to the window, and let's go to the Create tab. And we're going to select the model icon, and then we're going to select the rectangle tool. So what we need to do here is we need to actually set the work plane, because right now our work planes are all going from the outside inward, going perpendicular to our facade. So what we want to do is we want to set the work plane. So go up to the ribbon and click Set, the Set icon. And then you can zoom in here to in your 3D model, and I want to select the exterior face of that wall. So you can either hover over until it highlights, or you can use the tab key to circulate through your options. But we're going to click that plane. There we go. Now we should be able to draw on it. And then again, let's click the model icon and then the rectangle, and then it looks like it's already highlighting the fact that those are there, so we can snap to them a bit easier. So let's just draw rectangles around those windows. There you go. And let's hit escape twice to end that drawing command. And now we should be able to highlight the those rectangles that we just created. So we want to hold down the control key to select all 4 of them at the same time. And you can see that the cursor is changing to a plus sign, or there's a plus sign next to the cursor. And go ahead and select those. And then we can go create form and then void form. Okay, so it's unable to create the element. So we might have to do this one by one. So select one, go to create form, void form. Here we go. And you can see it changed kind of colors, like a little bit more orange, just a little deeper. Use that green pointing arrow right there with it has the base, and then you want to drag that outwards. You can even see right there, it's cutting through that facade. Drag that outwards. There we go. And we'll select the next one. Create void form. Use that green pointing arrow and drag it towards the exterior. Do it the 3rd time. Oh, I clicked the wrong green arrow. If you ever lose the void form, you can use your tab key to find it. And, nope. It's not working. So let's I just went ahead and undid that. And then, so I can select the rectangle again, click void form. If you need to, make sure to zoom in there. Make sure you're clicking the right green arrow. And do it one more time. There we go. You can also do a similar type of facade with like what we did with the bench, where we created one extrusion, and you could do that from the very bottom to the very top, and then you can do that array, a linear array, and then just add a bunch of voids in order to make it look like slats of wood. All right, if this so once you get that finished, we want to click on Finish Mass. It's a green check mark at the top of the ribbon. And we want to go to the Architecture tab, and then under Wall we're going to click the down arrow and select Wall by Face. And we can use this basic interior 4 by 7/8 inch partition wall. You can create a new wall if you'd like, one that's thinner, one that's thicker, and then hover over the 3D wall and select it, and you can zoom in here and you can see that it created a thickness to that. And once you click, it wants to unjoin these elements, and that's fine. We can go ahead and click unjoin. But as you can tell, that wall is there. If you want, you can even close off the side here. Oh, I have to redo that. So wall by face. I can even enclose this as a mass. you can leave these holes here open as almost as if there's a void in there, or you can close them off by selecting the walls inside. There we go. And there's that.